As your governor, I'm going to protect and invest in our children in a fundamentally different and more aggressive way. There's two or three things that are part of that. First of all, your heroin gangs and your sex trafficking gangs heavily overlap. I can use my skills and background as a Navy SEAL to absolutely crush those. Number two, in our education system, amongst all the priorities, we've got to invest very, very heavily and differently in third grade reading. If children can't read by the time they're 8 or 9 years old, the chances of ever addressing those challenges and giving them a chance down the road go down tremendously. And finally, we've got to do those things by reforming government and shrinking it so that we can make those investments with lower taxes and not saddle our children with increasingly ever more debt and taxes going forward in the future. I'm running for office because I've got a very different background. I was a businessman, a Navy SEAL, and I think that unique combination will allow me to do something different for Georgia to future-proof our state. I went to the Consumer Electronics Show in 2013, and I took a picture of myself in front of the largest booth at the show that year. It was Kodak's booth. They went bankrupt that week, and I said to everyone that worked for me, and I said the lesson from history is that the future is very, very cruel to those who not reinvest and reinvent themselves before pain starts. I think our state right now is in an amazing financial condition, but if you look at the long-term challenges we face, 42% of children being born out of wedlock, 2/3 of third graders not reading at a third grade level, #1 place in America for sex trafficking, 541 million opium pills prescribed to 10.3 million Georgians in the last 12 months. These are long-term cracks in our future that need to be addressed now over the next 8 years in a fundamentally different way. And I believe I can address those challenges and opportunities to make sure that Georgia's got the brightest future it's ever had. But we've got to do some things differently to keep us going in the direction that we are so blessed to be going now. I'm very, very different in three fundamental ways. First of all, I've never run for office. If you look at all the opponents I'm running against, I think they've got 60 years almost of combined political experience between all of them. If that is what you've always longed for in your ballot, I'm not the guy you should vote for governor. I will walk in with a different level of urgency, unconventional thinking, of whatever it takes attitude, and zero ties and beholdenness to special interest. That's very, very different than all the people I'm running against. Number two, I was a decorated Navy SEAL. I will bring a skill set and a thoughtfulness and a ruthlessness to addressing problems like heroin and sex trafficking that my opponents do not. The very same things that we did overseas to take down terrorist networks 100% apply to things like human trafficking networks and heroin networks. And finally, I was a successful business person. I ran a $500 million a year business. There's a lot of challenges and opportunities that sit in the next 8 years as far as how we run government, and I'm uniquely well suited for them. My opponents are not. 1 out of 5 of all of our state employees become voluntarily retirement eligible in the next 4 or 5 years. In the history of our government, that's never happened. And I've got a business background that allowed me to seize that as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to completely transform our government, shrink it, reprioritize it. That's how we can get to have more investments for roads to solve traffic and for schools and things like early reading. 20 of our counties have got 3 times the state average of their able-bodied working-age adults on disability. 17 of those counties are contiguous. It's 4 clusters around the state. We've never had the power through technology and data to do analytics to find broken spots in government and fix it and save that money, and find things that are working and copy those. Bleckley County graduates something like 98% of all of its students. That's a wild, outrageous, positive outcome relative to the economics of that county. We've got to find positive experiments like that and copy that. That's what I would bring as a business person. No one else that I'm competing against would bring that perspective, that experience, and that skill set. That's why I'm